All right, guys. Should we do it? Should we get into
Hobbs and
the
Shaw.
master class that is Hobbs and Shaw? Let me find the old Rotten Tomatoes on here.
We should all take shots of testosterone before this segment.
All right, Hobbs and Shaw. The official synopsis reads as thus. Brixton Lore, what a great name, is a cybernetically enhanced soldier who possesses superhuman strength, a brilliant mind, and a lethal pathogen that could wipe out half of the world's population. It's now up to hulking lawman Luke Hobbs and lawless operative Deckard Shaw to put aside their past differences and work together to prevent the seemingly indestructible Lore from destroying humanity. The movie stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Hobbs, Jason Statham as Deckard Shaw, Idris Elba, and Vanessa Kirby. All right, guys, what were your kind of spoiler-free impressions of Hobbs and Shaw?
Well, spoiler-free, I would say, I like the movie, full of great action, some strong female characters, a lot of levity, enjoyed the comedic styles of, I think we can say Kevin Hart was in the movie, and...
Spoiler!
Well, that's not a spoiler.
No, that's fine.
And,
He spoiled it.
and Ryan Reynolds, so a couple of good actors.
Another spoil.
Well, that's not a spoil. You can just look it up.
I like Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I had a good time with it. At first, it started a little slow, and I know it's like over 2-hour movie, so I was kind of
yeah, it was. It hung in there.
yeah. I watched it over 2 days. I watched like the first quarter of it one day, and then the rest of it the next day.
It's 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Yeah,
Directed by David Leitch.
they could have cut some of that out, but they didn't want to take people's cameos away. I think
Yeah,
I will say, I've watched a lot of the...
there were some pointless cameos in that.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of the Fast and Furious movies. If Ryan Reynolds was in them, it just escaped my mind. I didn't remember him at all.
no, I don't think he's ever been in one. No
yeah,
way.
they could have easily cut out Helen Mirren, Kevin Hart, Ryan Reynolds. All those scenes could have fucking been tossed out.
Yeah,
I guess we'll just go right into
Yeah.
spoilers.
Yeah, straight to spoilers.
Well, I'll say spoiler-free, my impression of this movie was if you know what you're getting into, which is just a dumb action movie, it's entertaining. It's entertaining. All right, guys, spoilers from this point forward.
Okay, so I like the way it started out, showing the contrast between the two characters. Shaw is this high-tech, fancy, living stylish lifestyle where... Hobbs
it's definitely very, formulaic there.
Yeah, it is.
You've got one and the other, and these guys are going to clash, and then they're going to be friends, and you're okay, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you definitely see it coming, but they play their roles pretty well, I feel like The Rock, he does play that kind of, rustic kind of character pretty well.
They do have a lot of fun banter during the movie. I don't know if it all works, but a lot of it does.
Yeah.
I guess.
I like the...
There's so much that is kind of predictable, but they keep it moving, so...
I'll say, one thing that stuck out to me is, there's a scene early on with The Rock and his daughter, and he makes a reference to Game of Thrones, and I think they high-five over it or something. And I'm like, is he watching Game of Thrones with his young daughter?
No. So what happened was... He found out that she got some reference that Ryan Reynolds made or something. He made some reference and she laughed or something. And he was like, what do you know about this stuff or something like that. And she explained, I watch Game of Thrones at my friend's house. I'm exposed to this stuff.
Most parents don't want their 7-year-old watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, most wouldn't be high-fiving over it. Most would be like, you shouldn't be watching that, sweetie.
What the fuck? I need to talk to Julie's parents.
Me and Lester, we both like some of the physics in the movie.
Oh, yeah, there's a mountain of bad physics.
Oh, is there?
There's this one scene where it's the scene where they're in the car and the guys on the motorcycles are chasing them. And there's this part where Rock just sticks his arm out the window and he hits this guy like at 90 miles an hour with his arm.
He holds him.
He's got rock. I mean, his arms are made of rocks.
He didn't like rip his arm off. There's another one where he's like holding a chain between the tow truck and the helicopter.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, no problems on this one. Then there's like they're rappelling down a building and like he jumps and grabs this rope and he's sliding down with his bare hand.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how painful that is? And then like at some point like he lets go and he just falls and he grabs the guy and he's like, oh, okay, that was stupid. And then like he cuts their rope and like they both hit the ground doing terminal velocity and they just like get up and walk away. And that's not the only one. They're, like when the helicopter crashes, they all fall like out of the sky into this like 2-foot deep puddle, and then they like all get up and they're just fine. And you're like, it's so like it's so terrible. Like,
and how about the physics of that scene where they were hanging off that cliff?
Oh yeah, it's retarded. Well, the thing
and
is,
they
like,
all waited to use their turbo thing,
right? Well, like so the helicopter
That's so stupid.
is trying to pick up one car and he can't do it. Like he can get the back wheels off the ground, and then like. For leverage, like they hook another car to the front of the line, and then like the helicopter picks up the back one, and the second one it can just barely pick the wheels off the ground. And they do this like 4 times, so there's like 4 or 5 cars or whatever. And then like they get to the last one, he's got his wheels off the ground, and like he uses his turbo, and that's just enough to like suck the helicopter down. So the second guy touches the ground, and he can use his turbo, and it's just like turbo or whatever, nitrous. It's like, oh, this is.
Why didn't they all
it's
do
so
that?
bad.
And also they all like have these convenient like hookup like mechanisms like where they just all
How
hook
do you
together.
hook to another car?
It's so stupid.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that part is very stupid.
I'll say one thing they like set up. Poor Rock in this movie, like they're setting up this romance between him and Vanessa Kirby. Like there's that scene at the beginning where they get in a fight and she like wraps her legs like right her crotch like right around his face, and then there's like a scene in the middle of the movie where he's in that big truck and she gets in there and she's like straddling him, and all it ever ends up in is she gives him like this small kiss at one point. I'm like, man, can't the Rock get up in them guts at one point? poor Rock.
That would have ruined the friendship. They didn't know how to do it.
I like the chemistry between the Rock and Hattie. That was it was fun. I do think that they should have if they make another movie that they should revisit that somehow, because I want to see them get nasty too. And it was funny to see Jason Statham's character freaking out, like when he made that bulldog reference to like big old balls, trying to bang his sister.
Well, and that same, like, that's another thing I thought they would come back to, because they're having that, she's like asleep on the airplane and they're having that, back and forth.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, if she wants to come climb the mountain, I'm going to, I don't remember exactly what he said, but I thought at some point, like, she was going to reveal that she heard that whole conversation, but it never happened. I was like, oh, that's a bit disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it's an action movie. Like, if you're not there for it to make a ton of sense, it's fine. You'll have some fun.
There's several points in the movie, like it happens like when Rock's driving that big truck, and I think it might happen at the end with the whole helicopter thing, where he'll say something to Jason Statham along the lines of, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And of course, they always are thinking the same thing, even though it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Let me see here. There was also, like, I thought this was a plot hole. Brixton's forces, when he goes to Samoa, like, so they all go to Samoa at some point.
Which also doesn't make any fucking sense. He's like, oh, the whole world's falling apart. I know it. Let's go to Samoa. They got fucking, like, sticks we can fight people with over there.
Yeah, and, like, so, okay.
And they're not even escaping. Like, apparently they know exactly where they've gone.
Yeah, Kevin Hart's character was so shoehorned in just to get them to Samoa.
Right. He's like, I got you there.
Well, and the whole thing of them going there was The Rock was like, I know a place where we can lie low. And then the bad guys automatically know that they're there.
And also when they get there, they're assuming that the enemy is right behind them.
Oh, yeah, it's true. And, like, how lucky was he to have a brother who was a genius?
Right?
Yeah, we thought that too. Like, that's so convenient.
He's like the guy with the chemistry PhD guy who has like 2 Nobel Prizes, couldn't figure this out.
Yeah.
And this guy like built something in like 25 minutes. Yeah.
He's like, I don't know if it's done yet. They're like, hurry. He's like, oh, it's working.
Now,
So I had this with Zach. Like, I thought the brother didn't pass as Samoan. I thought he was like Indian.
Yeah, he looked more in, and I looked his name up, and it's like he's got a white name, so I don't know what his deal is.
Okay.
But
Maybe he's half white, half Samoan. That makes Indian.
maybe,
or maybe he has like a stage name that's white.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
could be.
possible too,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
No, Lester was poking holes in the plot. Because he was like, at one point they get, that scene where they get captured and they're getting shocked and stuff, and he's like, why wouldn't he just kill him straight away? But the like bad guy voice that's talking to Idris Elba is like, oh no, we're not gonna kill him. We're gonna try to turn him.
These
first.
are fine genetic specimens.
Yeah, we're
need
gonna
to preserve
turn
them.
So
Yeah, that seemed like it was also like a forced plot hole there.
Yeah. Didn't he shock him like 4 or 5 times, and then he's like, then he's gonna kill him or something anyway?
Yeah.
And then also at the end of Samoa, like, they reveal that they just got all these like swords and like bludgeoning weapons, but they find a way to hack into the bad guys' like high-tech guns and shut them off, and none of them brought manual guns, so that plan worked to a T.
Oh, and on top of that, when their guns do start working again, they show at the end that they all have their hands up because the guns are working now. First, the people were going to light them up at the beginning. They were going to kill them. So now they don't shoot them. They have them, held hostage. Then they surrender when more Samoan people show up with no guns. Right? They had more sticks and stuff like that. And they were like, well, we're outnumbered, even though we've got bullets and everything.
Did either of you ever figure out like exactly why she was there in the beginning to inject herself with the virus, that she was trying to get rid of the entire movie with no apparent objective?
I mean, that
Like
opening,
she was supposed to be in like intelligence or something.
well, that opening scene, like they were trying to take down the bad guys, but then Idris Elba showed up and like everything went to hell. He was killing everybody, and she knew he was after the virus. So I think
she just took.
I think she was like, I think she originally thought, well, like I'll just sacrifice myself, and then I don't know. Then she found out that the virus didn't just wipe her out like right away, or maybe she knew that ahead of time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if the screenwriters knew.
And it was pretty fortunate that there was a device that could suck the virus back out of a person. Too.
Yeah.
I've never known a virus.
Yeah.
Like this is a special virus.
Are people doing that? Are they making
like
viruses?
it's not multiplying and going into your cells?
Well, and they also
Why aren't
talked
you
about how
degenerating?
they also talked about how it's somehow like reprogrammable. This virus.
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And how does it target half the people? Like, how does it target the weak? What does it do?
Yeah.
That's the thing I was confused about too.
What if it kills
Well,
a
I
bunch
guess
of...
you pick out people who have like sickle cell anemia or something, and then like you program that to their DNA and just
Oh.
like kill all those people,
I guess so.
like everybody with a 13th chromosome or something.
Yeah, but if you're gonna kill half the population, it seems like you would have to.
Well, I mean, you can start with the Jews.
Oh my god.
I mean, that's what I got when I first heard. I was like, oh, they're gonna kill off some population. I don't know.
Oh man.
I mean, I
Dark.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't exact because they were like he was all talking about how like we're doing this for the right reasons. We're evolving humanity, but then I'm like, but then you're gonna release this like pathogen that like kills.
Well, I mean, that was kind of the theory behind eugenics and stuff. Like part of even like Hitler's thought process is like you kill off the weak, and then you have a stronger population. So I mean, it's not an original thought. It's out there.
But I mean, there's so many there's holes in that theory. Like, you get stronger population for like that time period. They still got all those weaknesses that can be passed on to other people.
Well, I mean, if you like select a lot of the certain genes out of the gene pool, then they'll come up less often. So.
Yeah, less often. That's true.
He kind of pointed this out that like in Samoa, like the death traps at the end that they make, it's kind of like a Swiss Family
Right.
Robinson.
I wish it would have been even more like that. Like you just have like all these like preconceived little traps and like stuff that you're committing on your enemies.
I like when he starts things off. He has a convoluted thing where like Rock comes out in his like his shirt's off. He's in his like Samoan skirt or whatever, and he hits that thing on the ground and it like blows his car, like flips it over on some guys. I'm like, wow, they really put some thought.
Also,
into
how
this.
many explosives did they use to make fireworks that they could have used to kill people?
Well, I don't even like. Did they put I don't even know how they set it up till when those guys were approaching in their cars, like set off a bunch of fireworks. Like I don't even know how that works.
I mean, you could trigger things a lot of ways, but
guess.
it's still like, what's the point?
Yeah, it seemed pretty elaborate.
It's like, welcome here, guys. We got some fireworks for you.
Well, didn't they have like one big explosion that they heard in the distance that like let them know that the bad guys were there to begin with?
I don't remember.
I want to say they did.
I don't remember that.
But yeah.
You know something I didn't understand is so Rock comes out in his Samoan skirt and they do that whole scene, which by the way, it changes from dark to daytime, and then to like a rainstorm in like no time at all. But like after that scene and the guy gets on the helicopter and Rock's like, oh shit, we need to go follow him. Like for some reason he puts on a shirt. I don't know why.
Well, like he rips off the skirt and he's running, and then like apparently had pants on under the skirt.
That's the thing. Did he have? Because I would swear he was just wearing the skirt, and then all of a sudden he's wearing pants and putting on a shirt. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Didn't like Jason Statham drive up in his car and like throw the shirt out the window, and he like grabs?
I think so. Somebody threw him a shirt.
It's like, why were you holding?
Why
this
is that
shirt?
a thing? Yeah.
And how did he get pants on that quick? If he did,
Yeah. Bottom line, a lot of shit doesn't make sense. It's kind of what you expect, but it's still an okay romp.
Yeah, it's fun.
all right, guys. Scale of 0 to 10. Hobbs and Shaw.
I'll give it a 7.
I want to say 6, but I think it was slightly better than Wonder Woman. I gave that a 6, so we'll say 6.5.
I was thinking 6. Yeah. It's fun enough. If you're in the mood for just something stupid and light.
Yeah, just some stupid action with a few little jokes. You'd be okay.
Yeah.
Who do you think they're going to get to be the ominous voice that was talking to Idris Elba?
Why did someone die? Oh, you mean like it's going to be an in-person?
Well, yeah. I mean,
in the beginning, I thought it was just a computer.
oh, like an evil AI?
Something.
That could be.
Know.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I figured they just made it like a generic, muffled voice so that when they do the second one, they can cast whoever,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Who to expect?
Old and evil.
Charlize Theron again? Is she dead or what?
What? Oh, in the Fast and Furious movies? No, I think she's
Mitch
alive.
McConnell.
They should get somebody like wimpy, like I don't know, like Pee Wee Herman or something.
Screech.
Yeah, Screechy's looking for work, everybody.
Yeah, if he doesn't die from cancer.
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Oh, yeah. Best of luck.
Better move fast. I love when people change their tone when they find out somebody's dying.
That's true. Like, yeah, like even if it's someone you know is probably a douchebag, you hear that and you're like, oh, I hope they get back.
Yeah.
We don't want to go that far.
Even when Trump had coronavirus, I was like, man, I wouldn't want to die. So.
I think I've mentioned this before. Have you ever had anyone like they're telling you a story, like a funny story about someone, and you're like, you're kind of in a good mood, you're chuckling, you're laughing, and they're like, he died.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh. Sorry.
Now I'm the asshole.